entertainment. WN Media is reshaping the way we experience media. Stay tuned for political affairs, entertainment, and other news. Stay tuned.
Yes, I. Greetings, family.
You know, yes, viewers, yes,
I'm here.
viewers, yes, viewers. Once again, this is Political Affairs Evening Show, and then today, once again, we have our special guest, Sister Bigley, who is from New Jersey. Today, we're going to be looking into the impeachment of President Biden and then his son's alleged allegations. I know it's fresh news, and we want to bring some of these informations to our viewers. Those who are listening to us in Africa, those who are viewing us in Africa and all over the world. This is Political Affairs. My name is Martin Petigo, and I'm streaming live from Pennsylvania. We have our special guest on the show, and she is Sister Bigley. Sister Bigley, how you doing?
I'm doing great and wonderful.
I am touched. I am blessed. Anyway, Merry Christmas to you.
Yes, yes. A very Merry Christmas to you and all your viewers who are tuned in to listen in.
Yeah, in those days we say Merry Christmas in advance.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll go straight to the point and then we'll start looking at what is really happening on the Capitol Hill. As at yesterday, we heard the president's son, Hunter Biden, went to Congress. He didn't enter. He made a press conference. And to me, that press conference was just like giving the middle finger to Congress. And what do you think about? What do you say about it?
Yeah, it's exactly so. Kind of giving the middle finger to Congress because he thinks it's above the law. And why? Because his father is the president. So he thinks that's what actually what he did was contempt of Congress. So now Congress is going to, that's the Republican, where the majority now.
Right.
So they are going to write a letter to Department of Justice for his contempt of Congress. So the Department of Justice will have to take him on. Right. He has to be fined and jailed. So it's all another process. So we'll see if the Department of Justice is going to be fair, as they did with the other Trump people who also were in contempt of Congress because they had a genuine reason for not going to Congress to testify during Nancy Pelosi's speakership. Right. So we'll see how it goes.
But it looks like the Department of Justice, is his father's Department of Justice.
Yes.
So how possible can that be for Biden's justice to write a letter to the son? That is going to be something else.
No, actually, it's the Congress that is going to write the letter to Department of Justice.
Okay.
Yes. And then the Department of Justice is going to write to Hunter Biden about him being contempt of Congress because it's a felony for you not to be, being contempt to Congress. Right. So there's a jail sentence, there are fines. It all depends on the level of, your contempt to Congress. Right. But now that his father is the president, that is why I said earlier on, we'll see how it goes from this point on. Okay. In the next few days, in the next few weeks, then we'll get a good wrap our head around it. Will the Attorney General be able to stand his grounds and say, well, nobody's above the law?
Yes.
If that is, yes. And that is what the Democrats or the Democrats and their president have been hammering all these years. No, when it was Trump's time, nobody's above the law. Nobody. So let's see what happens. Right. So in the next few weeks, we'll get a good reading which way this is going to go.
Okay. Tell us about the vote in Congress recently. I think the Republicans have decided to do impeachment, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes,
How did the
yes.
vote go? I was surprised that all the GOPs all had to just come together. How were they convinced? How did they get to this level? Because they were always divided on some of these matters. What happened?
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. What happened actually, from what was out there, yes, in the public domain, the few of the congressmen had cold feet because they thought they didn't have all the investigative information at hand at that time. Because when what is his name, McCarthy, the previous
Stephen
Speaker of
McCarthy,
the House,
the previous
yes,
speaker.
yes, he said okay, because this is part of how come Gates took him on. This was part of the things he had to sign before they voted him into Congress, that he must let them do the investigation into Biden. Okay, long story short. So the committee, the oversight committee led by Comey. Yeah, Comey, not Jordan. Jordan also he's doing the judicial aspect of it, the legality of it.
Okay.
And then with Comey, he is doing the investigative. The investigative, that is the getting the bank records, following up the trail from all the China, the shore account they have. Right. What's the name? There's a name for it. All the, through Ukraine and all the things that's been going in the back channel.
I understand Kazakhstan.
China.
I'm surprised Kazakhstan, that poor country.
Yes, China and Kazakhstan, Romania, a lot of countries. Yes. So with Comey, Ukraine. So with Comey, his is that he is narrowing into the black and white, the figures, the trail, the money trail. Yeah. Okay, the checks, the bank records, which he has subpoenaed through Treasury, Department of Treasury. Right. So those are part of Comey's job. Jim Jordan, his is the legality of it. Okay. So the two have to merge. Right. What are we legal? What are we bound to do legally? And what are the paper trails that we have? Right. So we can stand on this and say, now we have done our investigation. Right. We have crossed the T and dotted the I's, so that we can take it to the floor now and vote on it. That was the vote they had yesterday. Okay. And all the Republicans had the backbone to vote for that.
But again, the Democrats are saying that there is no dead there. There is no dead there. It's just a political stunt. And it's like, because Donald Trump was impeached, so therefore the Republicans also want to impeach Joe Biden, so it becomes a score. That's what the Democrats are saying. What do you say about that?
Yeah, yes. The Democrats know they're in hot waters to start with. They know it. They know the truth. They know the facts. Right. But they are just blowing wind or throwing wool over people's face, thinking that most people are ignorant. Yeah. Don't know they can. That's the insult they always throw around. Okay, so let's go back. Why did this thing started? His son's laptop from hell. Mm-hmm. It's been there since 2019. Okay. But the FBI director, unfortunately, who was appointed by Donald Trump, and these are the people who are part of the deep state. They just cover for each other. Right. Because in 2019, Hunter took his laptop for repair at a mechanic shop. A laptop,
the
shop.
Laptop from hell.
The laptop from hell.
Yes.
So when he took the laptop, when you take any of these things, your laptop or your wristwatch or your jewelry to any shop for repair, on the receipt, they tell you, come and pick it up at this day. Or after 90 days, if you don't pick it up, it means you are going to lose it, right? Mm-hmm. So he left his laptop with the repair shop guy who fixed his laptop. And then he was supposed to go pick it up. Mm-hmm. and he never picked it up after 60 or 90 days thereabout. Right. So what they do is, okay, you didn't pick it, so let me clean it up and we either sell it or, whatever. Or, toss it as junk. Right. But at the time that he was trying to clean his computer up, right, he saw a lot of things he should have seen.
Okay.
So, him with the crack.
Was it right?
Naked.
Was it right for him to?
Yes, legally he had it. Yes.
Legally he had the right to look into somebody's
legally.
Private. Okay. All right.
Yes. Because after 90 days on the receipt, it becomes abandoned.
Okay.
So indirectly, he abandoned the laptop. He didn't pick it up after 90 days. So because you sign that contract when you drop off something, mm-hmm, right? It's like a jewelry shop. You drop or you go through or you go to a storage. You put your things in the storage. Right. When you sign those lists, after if you defer on payment or you don't pick up, then it becomes, that is why they go auction and send those things to auction and auction. So legally, he was legally bound. Okay. So when this guy saw, the crack, his naked pictures with prostitutes and a whole lot, and more so with all this China connection, right, and, official trips with his father, things that should not be, because the father was a vice president at that time. Right. Before then. So he was privy to a lot of official, right, matters. So then, what did the guy do? Initially, the guy did the right thing. Okay. When he saw those things, he said, no, I'm seeing more than I should see. Because there's a lot of, I'll not use the word classified, but there's a lot of policy issues within from the vice president's office. Right. That's on that laptop. So the guy sent the laptop to the FBI and said, look, somebody dropped this guy. This is a signature on the guy's receipt and blah, blah, blah. He happens to be the vice president's son. Mm-hmm. So there's too much information. So I'm handing over the laptop to you guys. Right. But the good thing was he had made a backup. He put a backup. What is that thing called? He did a backup of the things that were on the laptop.
Did he has the right to do a backup?
He did. Yes, he had the right, because now the laptop, indirectly, he is the owner of the laptop. Okay. Yes. So legally, he had that legal right to do it. But the sexual, the implicit, the sexual aspect, and alleged that some of the people that Hunter Biden were even sleeping with underaged. Wow. Besides the drugs, underaged children, underage, and some of those, the prostitutes, it was a trans, out of state, Right. So when you are dealing with prostitutes out of state, it's illegal. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So, today.
So let me finish this thought before.
Finish with that one. Yes,
so when he gave the laptop to the FBI in 2019, and they said, they were going to work on it, they were going to investigate more into it. Okay. So the guy was waiting, thinking that the FBI was going to do what? Investigate, and this guy will be what? Brought the law work. Yeah. As he was waiting for more than a year, nothing was coming up. He never had anything. They kind of started hashing him up. Yeah. Hush. So what did he do? Then he took the copy that he had, the hard copy that he had. Yeah. He took it to Giuliani.
Okay,
Rudy Giuliani. Yes. Who he knew that was a former prosecutor, yeah, who knows how to deal with certain things. So he took it to Rudy Giuliani with the New York Post. Okay. That's the newspaper, New York Post. So he gave it to them so that they can do their own investigative thing from that point on. Yes.
But this laptop thing came during the 2020 elections, and they said it was a Russian disinformation, right? That's what we heard.
Yes.
Yes.
During the presidential. So at
debate.
that time, 2 weeks before the presidential debate, the New York Post had published about this thing, because at that time they knew it was authentic, because when the news media and people get those kind of things, sometimes they don't just publish right away. They just want to be sure. Right. So they all do their independent investigative, check the signatures, check the pictures, and see if they are not doctored. A lot goes on behind the scene. So before most newspapers will publish something, a story that they will know it's going to have a major impact one way or the other, they take their time and do their investigation. So they had it since 2019. That is the FBI never did anything. They just shelved it quietly.
Were they trying to protect? Were they trying to protect the elections?
Exactly. They were trying to protect Biden. They wanted to protect Biden, so that he could win the election. Okay, right. So it was so. In other words,
yes. Okay, I'm listening.
In other words, it's called election interference. That is when the FBI, the former CIA directors, the military brass, and a few other people came out and said, we, as we call them the 51. What is that? 51 former special CIA directors and so military brass, and so we are coming up and saying that is a Russia collusion.
Wow.
It's not from the Hunter's laptop. So they came out 2 weeks before, and then during the debate, because now, and then what did they do? They used Facebook and Twitter, because most people read from Twitter and Facebook, right? So at the time that this news, the New York Post news had come out, what did Twitter do? Twitter suspended the publisher, that's the New York Post.
By then, Elon Musk wasn't owning Twitter.
No, Jack. Okay. It was Jack Smith. It was Jack. Jack. No, not Jack Smith. Jack, whatever the Twitter guy. I forgot his last name. Escaped me. The long beard. It was Jack something, right? He was then the owner of Twitter. Yes. Okay, so it was a suppression of that news to reach out to the public.
That would have affected the elections,
Exactly. Yes. So way after the election, like last year, when the posters were doing the polls, and even Democrats, about 17% of them said if they had had this information before the vote in 2020, they wouldn't have voted for Biden. Right. Yes, 17% of Democrats. Right. So during the debate, when that question was asked, they didn't even ask that question. It was Donald Trump, one of the questions, and then Donald Trump made sure he had that in, and he said, your son is taking was paid $3 million from a Russian mayor. What did your son do to get that? Has to be paid $3 million. Your son got a diamond ring from a Chinese businessman. What did you do for you to have that diamond ring? Yeah. So then what did he do? The guy,
he was even on the board of Burisma in Ukraine.
Burisma, who is being paid $83,000 a month. Yeah. When exactly we Donald Trump asked Biden, how can your son, who is no expert in energy and oil, sit on a board and be paid $83,000 a month? Right. How can your son be given? There was another amount of money. Was it a bit? It came to the bill, $1 billion something, with the Chinese government. How come your son, even those who work on Wall Street, don't even get that amount of money? Like, what's the word? I lost with that word. They don't even get that amount of money. Yeah. Yes. So what did your son do? What is his qualification?
Right. No.
So it means he's only peddling all these things because the father was a former vice president.
But the Democrats are still saying that with all this list of itemines that though all these things are public knowledge, the Democrats are still saying that there is not there. They said that the Republicans are just making it up.
It is,
Irrespective of the laptop from heaven and the laptop from hell, the nude pictures, Hunter being a board member of Burisma in Ukraine. We remembered when President Obama was president, and then the vice president went to Ukraine and said, if the prosecutor is not fired, then son of a B, I mean, you're not going to get your 6 billion.
He's not giving, exactly.
Okay. Now, he's supposed to face Congress, and he has failed to face Congress. Now, they were supposed to have a deposition in camera. He says he wants it in public. Is it a requirement to first have a deposition in camera before you go public? Because Hunter wants it public, but can you just give us some information about that?
Okay.
Yes.
Anytime there is a deposition, which has happened, that's the law of Congress. When they are doing any investigative thing, what do? They do the deposition first. Why do they do the deposition first behind a closed door? Because there you are sworn under oath. Everything that, so they have more time to go in depth. Okay, ask questions. So both sides are asking questions, and every note is taken by the stenographer and all the people, camera, audio. So everything is right there. So for a deposition, when you go, it can be maybe 8 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. And get you on record.
What if the deposition is under investigation? There, can he still speak even though his case is under investigation by the FBI or the justice system, whatever? There he can say anything because it is in camera.
No.
Or there his lawyer can tell him, his lawyer can advise him, no, don't say this, no, keep your Fifth Amendment, blah, blah, blah. What do you think?
Yes. With the deposition, when you go in, you are answering questions. Though you have your lawyer, there are times, they'll nudge you, don't answer this, say this. You see what I mean? That. But at least there's an in-depth. Why? Because after the deposition, they cross-check you again when it's taken into the
public,
to the court, the public.
Okay.
So they like to do the deposition first before they come in public.
All right.
Because when they come in public, one, their time is limited. Every Congress person or those on the committee only get 5 minutes to answer a question. So if I have a question, because in the deposition I ask it, you know how the lawyers go, they ask a question, they twist it around, come around, because they want to get to the bottom of something. So they have a lot of time. One person can take an hour and a half and ask a question so that it's a thing that they have been doing. Even when Bill Clinton was impeached, he went to deposition, right? You remember when he said, I never and ever slept with that lady, I never and ever had any sexual thing doing it. That was during the deposition, right? But then when he became public, then he came out. Then because now the other evidence were out that, hey, there's a dress, there's a blue dress. So he had to come out and say, yes, though he has something to do with the lady.
Yeah.
So depositions matter.
All right.
Because it is through the deposition before they do their cross-examination and cross. Exactly.
All right.
Yes.
Wow, I see. So, what is the second reason why they do deposition? So that those who are yet to be called, they will not know exactly what the first person has going to say.
Yes,
exactly. That's the reason.
Exactly. Yes.
So then why is American's darling boy, daddy's pet, Hunter, preventing himself to go for this in-camera deposition? He wants it to be public. Why is he doing that?
Usually is yes, that is not. Usually, even let me add this to it. During the Russia, whatever, right? Donald Trump's son, Don Jr. He was called in he went to deposition, right? He did go to deposition. He went during the Mueller investigation. Yes. He went into because they want to find out if you are lying under oath, right, or they try to get the truth out of you. Because when you do the deposition, everything is the transcript is there, right, the audio is there, right, the video is there. And Congress, what they do is, when they do the deposition, before they come and do the public hearing, right, that is why it is two things: deposition and public hearing. Okay. The public hearing is what we see on C-SPAN or CNN or any other network if they are airing it live. So the media that is when yes, exactly. So that is where the committee is sitting there. Everybody gets a 5 minutes time slot and ask questions. But because that time is not a match for them, that is why it has been with Congress. He wants to change the law, and you cannot change the rule of law in Congress.
His father is the president.
So, of course. What
His
else?
father is the president.
Of course. What else?
And the Republicans don't have the Senate, so definitely it's not going to go. It's not going to fly.
Well, yes. It's not going to fly, but at least they don't have the Senate in the Republican. But at least for me personally, I think it's a good thing because now this is coming public. Right. You know, they have denied it. The father said, no, I didn't have any business to do with my son. Right. I have no business dealings with my son. Right. And the Hunter Biden's own business partners in the past came out and said, when they said the 10% goes to the big guy, the big guy was Joe Biden. When even Hunter's recent, some of his WhatsApp messages, text messages that came, he was threatening the Chinese counterpart that, hey, I have my father sitting by me. So if that money is not wired to me, don't F with us. Right. That's a recent thing. Right. It's on his WhatsApp. Wow. So these are all the things that I said earlier that the Comey investigative team were doing. Right. They were following the trail because they had subpoenaed the banks and got the bank's record. Right. The money that was transferred from the son to the father and all those kind of dealings is there. Okay, so the Democrats cannot say that there's nothing there. It is. They know it. They really know it, but they are just playing the game, you know. And of course, they have their media who is always covering and sheltered them.
I don't know whether if you've touched on this, but you know, Comey has a lot of information from the banks because of his position in Congress. But to move to this impeachment hearing, what does it do? It gives them more power to call for legal informations, like to speak straight to, I mean, can you speak more on that?
Yes.
With where they are now, it gives them more
authority, more power.
Yes, authority.
Yes.
So that's the reason why we are where we are now.
Exactly. Okay. Now that the House has voted for the impeachment inquiry, it is so broad and wide that the committee can subpoena for any record, any part of the world, any record, any wire transfer, anything that has been going on. They have more power now to get all those paperwork or, you know, records or whatever information they are seeking.
With the White House comply.
So that is why sometimes the negotiations between the White House and the counsel's office goes on. They'll be they'll be dragging their feet. But the thing is, gradually, there'll be leaks that we shall be reading about, we shall be hearing. And gradually, people will begin, the public or the country, their interest will be, you know, will follow, it will intrigue their mind and they'll start to learn something that they didn't know before. When they assumed that the laptop from hell was in Russia, then they say, oh, then now things are adding up now, or this doesn't make sense. You see what I mean? So people are going to be focused now and be paying more attention to it than before. So if the Biden had played it smart. They have made this thing be a 2 years ago or 3 years ago news.
Right.
But not getting close to the election that all this information is coming, because those who paid a little bit of attention in 2020 heard something, but they were not sure.
Right.
But now that they are having more information coming out, they say, oh, after all, then Trump was right.
Right.
Then they'll know that there was a cover up.
Right. It's going to be an interesting 2024.
Oh,
First quarter.
Can't wait for.
It's going to be very interesting 2024.
We can't wait.
Yeah. Sister Bigley, it looks like we have exhausted the current affairs. Is there anything else you'd like to add? We are almost about 31 minutes. Program was supposed to be 45, but at least we just make it to 31. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, yes. To tell you the truth, because he is the president's son, he's having his way around. Because there are records that he spent almost $1 million on prostitutes, $872,000 to be precise, thereabout.
He fathered a child. All public records. Is there?
It's public. Google. It's not that exactly. Yes, it's public Google. Record.
Was just Googling.
He's been on drugs and had drugs. Unfortunately, because his father is a president, or whatever may happen down the line, the father can pardon him because the father is a president. So if this thing drags on up to a point in time that he even has to be in jail or fined or something, the father has a authority to pardon him. So that
the father can only pardon him after the end of his tenure, or the father can still pardon him.
The father can pardon him
anytime.
But at the end of the year, he can, because every year they pardon.
Oh, so is that every year the president? Is that why they are stonewalling everything, so that by the time information will come out, it will be at the end of? But the father wants to stand for his second term.
So he can do it in his
Papa
first term.
That's next. Stand for his second term.
Yeah, so he can do it. He can do it November of 2024.
Yes.
If not before, he can do it November 2024, because usually presidents pardon every year. If I'm right, I guess I'm right on that. But most of the time, they are low profile. They don't carry a lot of weight.
Right.
You see what I mean? But the bigger ones are the ones that become the news at the end of their term.
Right.
So if his father will pardon him, then it's going to be 2024, November 2024.
Wow.
If before he leaves or before he continues his second term, which we are all praying it doesn't.
Wow. I understand he has tax issues. He has tax issues too.
He has tax issues in California.
Taxes,
yes, he tax issues in California.
The rich sons cannot even pay their taxes. Oh, God have mercy.
Yes. Yeah. He has tax issues in California.
Right.
That he's there's a lot that happened that by law he should have been in jail now, even for him to own a gun.
If it was me and you, would have been in jail, you know that.
Oh yes. For him to have a gun as an addict, he should have had a gun. So these are things that the gun, that is why when he went to the judge in Delaware, and the judge, because he got a sweetheart deal and got out of it, and that is what opened all this can, because they gave him immunity.
Right.
The U.S. attorneys who were investigating him in Delaware, what did they do? They gave him a sweetheart deal that you have immunity, and that immunity means that nobody could charge him with any new crime that comes up.
Right.
So when he went before the judge, and the judge asked the Department of Justice attorneys, is this something you do for any random person? And they said no. They said, how come he got this? So the judge said, get the hell out of here.
Wow. And that's why everything just escalated into the media.
Exactly. So that blew out. So if it's not that judge who saw through the tea leaves and said, no, he is having a plea deal, a sweetheart deal, or he's having this and that, when the other people would have been in jail by now, why are you bringing this before my court?
Right.
So she was very angry with the U.S. attorneys who were representing, why he should and they keep saying we are not, nobody's above the law, and they behave that they are above the law because if you possess a gun as an addict, it's a felony.
Right.
And the sad part too was the gun that he had, he threw it out in a dumpster by a school. Near a school.
He could have buried it somewhere. He could have buried it somewhere in the forest somewhere. That's what I would have done.
Yes, but then what? The Secret Service took care of that gun, and took it away, and that gun business, so it became a hush. So much that this guy has been doing, it's wrong. And when I say it's wrong, very wrong. Living on his yes, no one's above the law, and they are above the law. An ordinary person would have been in jail.
Yes.
And So anyway.
Yes, Sister Bigley. We'll be staying put. 2024 is going to be very interesting. I know Congress will be going for the Christmas break. When they come back, we're going to know the detail of all these issues.
Exactly. So we'll see how far they are going to go. I know the impeachment will do their best.
Yes.
And see. But at least for me, even when it doesn't go anywhere, a lot of people are going to listen to it, watch it live on C-SPAN or any news outlet for the first time. Or those who have been following it for a while, we shall continue and get new facts and read about a lot that we don't already know. But for the Congress, because for the Speaker of the House to sign off for this to get on the floor, it means they have also done their due diligence work. And they have been keeping at this for the past 2 years, 2 years thereabout. So it means they've got to a point and a time that everything will add up. So there's no way now. Maybe some of the media who were, falsely or blindly following them and saying, no, it's Russia. It's not going to be Russia collusion anymore. It's going to be the real deal.
Our viewers, we thank you so much for this very moment. And I just want to tell you that if you want current affairs, always tune into Mozart's Media, Political Affairs. We are not biased. For the past 3 weeks, we've been teaching or educating more on the political party, the GOP, the Republican Party. Next 2 months, we're going to focus more on the Democrat Party because we don't want to be impartial. We want to be friends to all party followers and party members. And our research person, our political analyst, and our politician, Sister Bigley, was the one who took us through this. I want you to stay tuned. My name is Martin Petigo, and this is Political Affairs streaming live from Pennsylvania, Colma. Stay tuned. We love you all, and God bless you, and Merry Christmas in advance. Sister, you still there?
I'll
call you
no
at the end of the program. God bless you.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
okay. God bless you too. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Mozart's Media is at the forefront of storytelling with the focus of pushing boundaries and delivering unparalleled entertainment. MWN Media is reshaping the way we experience media. Stay tuned for political affairs, entertainment, and other news. Stay tuned.
Yes, greetings, family.